Hi, what's up, Mind Good Empowerment? Let's talk about sleep and bipolar when you're either wired or exhausted. So, have you ever been so tired that your body feels heavy, but the moment your head hits the pillow, your mind wakes up? Or maybe you finally sleep, but no matter how many hours you get, you still wake up exhausted. You look at the clock, you count the hours, and you think, I should feel rested. Why do I still feel like I'm dragging myself through the day? And if you live with bipolar disorder, sleep can feel like one of the hardest parts of the journey. And I know that from personal experience. For many years, sleep was such a battle for me. It was not just a bad night here or there. It was a pattern. It was a part of my life. I remember being stable in some ways, doing what I was supposed to do, showing up for work, taking care of my responsibilities, trying to build a good life, and still only getting about 4 hours of sleep per night, sometimes even less than that. And the frustrating part was that people would say things like, just go to bed earlier, just turn off your phone, come on, just relax. But when you have bipolar, sleep is not always that simple. There are nights when I wanted to sleep so badly, my body was exhausted, my eyes were tired, I knew I had to get up early and be responsible the next day, but my brain would not stop. It was like my thoughts had a motor attached to them, and I would lay there thinking about everything I needed to do. Everything I had done wrong, everything I needed to fix, everything I was afraid of, and everything I hoped my life could become. Other times, I would sleep some, but it would never felt like I was enough. I'd wake up feeling like I had never fully shut down. I would go through the day with this strange combination of exhaustion and restlessness. I was tired, but I was also wired. So I was functioning, but I was not restored. And for a long time, I thought maybe this was just how life was going to be for me, and that there was no other possibility, that there was no change for me. I thought maybe people like me just did not get good sleep. I thought maybe because I had bipolar, I would always have to survive on less rest, have to survive on more coffee, more pushing through, more pretending, and more telling myself, you're fine, just keep going. But over time, I began to learn something that changed the way I saw sleep. Sleep is just not rest for someone with bipolar. And I want you to hear that clearly. Sleep is just not rest for someone with bipolar. Sleep is that key word, it's stability. It is a protection. And sleep is actually a really huge part of our treatment. Sleep is one of the warning lights on the dashboard of our mental health. The National Institute of Mental Health explains that bipolar disorder involves changes in mood, energy, activity levels, concentration, and sleep. Manic symptoms can include feeling wired or jumpy, racing thoughts, increased activities, and a decreased need for sleep. Depressive symptoms then can include trouble falling asleep, waking too early, or sleeping too much. Manic symptoms can include both manic and depressive symptoms at the same time. And this is why sleep can feel so confusing to someone with bipolar. It is not always one clear pattern. Sometimes we cannot sleep because our mind is racing, and sometimes we sleep too much because depression has drained everything out of us. And sometimes we sleep a few hours and feel energized in a way that should actually concern us. And sometimes we sleep 8 or 10 hours and still feel like we can barely move. So the question then becomes, how do we manage sleep when bipolar makes us either unable to sleep or exhausted all the time? That question again, how do we manage sleep when bipolar makes us either unable to sleep or exhausted all the time? The first step is to stop treating sleep like an afterthought. For the bipolar brain, sleep is not optional. It is not something we squeeze in after everything else is done. It has to become one of the foundations of our stability. So that does not mean that you will sleep perfectly every night. I do not sleep perfectly every night, but it does mean we have to start paying attention to our patterns. One of the most important things you can do is track your sleep. Not obsess over it, not shame yourself over it. Just notice it. Write down what time you went to bed, what time you woke up, how many times you woke up during the night, that's key, and how you felt the next morning. Over time, you may start to notice patterns. Maybe your sleep gets shorter before hypomania. Maybe you start waking up at 3 a.m. with racing thoughts before a mixed episode. Maybe you sleep 12 hours when depression is creeping in. Maybe staying up late for a few nights in a row affects your mood more than you realize. So sometimes our sleep, we can be sleeping less, and it can be due to just staying up late, not due to an episode coming on. So look for those patterns. Tracking gives us information, and information gives us power. The second step is to create a consistent rhythm. So there is a type of therapy called interpersonal and social rhythm therapy. It's called IPSRT, that was developed to help people with bipolar stabilize their daily routines. The idea is that our daily rhythms, things like sleeping, waking, eating, working, socializing activities, can affect mood stability. IPSRT focuses on creating consistent routines because disruptions in daily rhythms can contribute to mood episodes. This matters because bipolar is sensitive to rhythm. Our brain often does better when life has anchors, and we've talked about anchors before. Our constant wake-up time is one of the strongest anchors we can actually create. Even if your bedtime is hard at first to get, try to wake up around the same time every day. This helps your body's internal clock. Then build a wind-down bedtime routine. Not a perfect Pinterest routine, a realistic routine. So maybe it's turning the lights down. Maybe it's taking a warm shower. Maybe it's putting your phone away from your bed. Remember, we want to have no screens before bed for at least 15 to 30 minutes before we go to bed. Maybe it's listening to calming music. That's powerful. Maybe it's reading something peaceful instead of getting out, your phone and scrolling. Pick up a book, read something peaceful. Maybe it's praying, journaling, stretching, or deep breathing. The goal is to teach our body we are safe, we are slowing down, we are preparing to rest. The third is to protect your evenings. And this one can become really difficult, but it's really something that has transformed my life and sleep. So this is a big one. For people with bipolar, late night stimulation can be risky. Emotional conversations, social media scrolling, online shopping, intense shows, bright lights, caffeine, alcohol, and stressful work can all activate the brain at the very time we need it to calm down. If sleep is already hard for you in the evening, and your evening must become sacred. That does not mean boring, it means protected. You may need a rule that you do not make big decisions at night. You do not need to send emotional texts at night. You do not need to start huge projects at night. You do not need to research your entire life at midnight. You do not need to let your brain convince you that at 11:30 p.m. is the perfect time to fix every problem you have ever had. Because bipolar can lie to us at night. It can tell us, you're not tired, keep going. It can tell us, you need to solve this right now. It can tell us, start the business plan, clean the closet, text the person, buy the one thing, change your life. But wisdom says, let's sleep first. So really protect that sleep. The fourth is step fourth step is to know the difference between insomnia and decreased need for sleep. And this one is important too. Insomnia is when you want to sleep, but you cannot. You feel tired, you may feel frustrated, anxious, and worn down. Decreased need for sleep is different. That can happen during mania or hypermania when you sleep much less than usual, but you feel energized or like you do not need rest. NIMH lists decreased need for sleep as one symptom of mania, along with racing thoughts, increased activity, feeling wired, and irritability. Both of those matters because decreased need for sleep can be an early warning sign that your mood may be shifting upward. So ask yourself, am I tired and unable to sleep? Or am I sleeping less and feeling unusually energized, driven, restless, or wired? The question can help you decide when it's time to reach out to your doctor or your therapist. And then the fifth step is to talk to your treatment team. I know we love practical tools, and I believe in the holistic practices. I believe in routines, exercise, nutrition, journaling, support systems, and lifestyle changes. That is a huge part of what Mind Fit Empowerment is all about. Helping people with bipolar reclaim their lives and live with fulfilling lives with compassion, honesty, and care. But sleep issues with bipolar also need medical support. We can do some of it holistically, but that medical support is key too. If you are consistently sleeping only a few hours, if you are sleeping all day and are still exhausted, if your sleep suddenly changes, or if you are scared you may be entering mania, depression, or a mixed episode, please do talk to your psychiatrist or your mental health care provider. Do not adjust medication on your own. Do not just push through. Do not wait until everything crashes. Reaching out early is not a weakness. Remember, it's that keyword, it's wisdom, and we want to do things through wisdom. The sixth step to build your personal sleep plan. So your plan might include a consistent wake time, a bedtime routine, a reduced caffeine, morning sunlight, regular meals, movement during the day, fewer naps, less screen time at night, and crisis plan for when sleep suddenly changes. It might also include telling a trusted person, when I start sleeping less, I need you to check in on me. And this is because sometimes we do not notice the warning signs as clearly as when we are inside of them, right? Outside people notice warning signs quicker than we do. That's why we want that feedback. Sleep has been one of the hardest parts of my bipolar journey. It took me many years to learn how to manage it better, years to stop minimizing it, years to stop thinking 4 hours was just normal for me, years to realize that my sleep was speaking and I needed to listen. And maybe that is what you needed to hear today. Your sleep is speaking to you, not to shame you, not to scare you in any way, but to, in a way, be a guide to you. So if you are unable to sleep, or if you are exhausted all the time, please do not ignore it. Start being a learner of it. Start tracking it. Build rhythms. Protect your evenings. Talk to your doctor. Create a plan. Take your sleep seriously because your stability matters. And hear me when I say this. You are not lazy because you are exhausted. You are not failing because sleep is hard. You are not broken because your brain struggles to shut off or shut down at night. You are simply learning how to care for a nervous system and a brain that needs consistency, compassion, and support. And you are still capable of building a fulfilling life with bipolar. If this episode has helped you, please subscribe and follow and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. You never know who is lying awake at night and feeling alone, wondering why they cannot sleep, wondering if anyone else understands. Your share could remind them that they are not alone. And as always, I am cheering for you. I believe in you. And I want you to remember bipolar may be part of your story, but it does not get to write the whole ending. And so I hope that helped you with some practicality of sleep, since sleep is such an important part of our stability. Really the holistic part is to start tracking things around your sleep, what things could be influencing your sleep, and then really reaching out to your treatment team to see how they can be helpful and supportive to you. But different things can affect us. If we're having caffeine late in the afternoons, like that could be affecting your sleep. If we're working on high stress things in the evenings, that's going to affect our sleep. We're going to be wired on, high stressful situations, right? If we're not calming our brain down before we go to sleep, that's going to affect our sleep. I had to learn that I had to have a calming routine where I could quiet my mind, because my mind is constantly on the go and constantly thinking of things and constantly planning things and constantly thinking of what I should have done differently throughout the day, and it's always on. I had to start creating that wind down routine where my mind would start releasing those things and start engaging in peaceful activity. That way I could allow my brain to shut off and actually go to sleep, and I wouldn't wake up every hour after hour after hour and only get 4 hours of sleep and have broken sleep. And that was miserable, and I did that for years. And finally now I'm able to get some good quality sleep. I'm still on medication to do that, but before I was on medication and having broken sleep. And so now I'm medication and not having that broken sleep, when I created that wind down routine and discovered also what things I was doing that was leading up to, what patterns I was doing that was leading up to me not having peaceful sleep, like constantly working up into the last minute of going to bed and doing things that were highly stimulating, or trying to be out with people and past my bedtime when I needed a set bedtime. So those things are all important. So you too can make those decisions. I believe in you, and I'm always here for you. Please know that you've got this. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm here for you. I'm happy to be of service for you. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer, please reach out with your questions. I would love to answer your particular questions on these episodes. That way you get your questions answered and I'm meeting your needs. So please share with others if you think this was a helpful episode and you think someone else can be encouraged by it. Thank you so much for listening today. Be empowered, and I'll talk to you very soon.